We fought wars. We practiced slavery. We scaled the giddy heights and plumbed the miserable depths of the human development experience, the same as our contemporaries worldwide. The point, however, is that we did this independently. However, comrades, the last 500 years have been a period of destruction and humiliation for West Africa. We suffered centuries of slavery and slave trading, a system that reduced Africans to commodities, brutally killed or captured, imprisoned, exported, and sold in strange lands as field animals. When slavery became impossible because of African resistance and significant shifts in North American capitalism, imperialism transitioned us to colonialism. Europe carved up our entire continent brutally and inorganically to facilitate monopoly looting of our resources and to prevent a European war, which ended up coming in any case. Our transported brothers and sisters became oppressed second or third class citizens in the Americas. We were deprived of sovereignty and made second class citizens in our own lands. Imperialists reorganized our societies in many overt and subtle ways for their profit and to limit our will and ability and capacity to resist. But resist we did, and we were slaughtered by what we are now pleased to call our development partners. And then, comrades, imperialism plunged the world into two disastrous world wars. These restructured global capitalism again, leaving Europe too weak to repress African resistance and remain profitable. Imperialism therefore staged a tactical retreat to neo-colonialism, under which our exploitation and oppression continued, supervised now by treacherous, imperially socialized local elites, wielding Western-designed institutions, a sop to popular demands for liberty. We have endured and resisted neocolonialism now for almost 70 years. However, comrades, neocolonialism, never more than a tactical experiment, has run its course. The combination of our continuing resistance, the deep internal crisis of global capitalism, and the emergence of powerful new global forces like China, Russia, and the rest of the BRICS threatens the preferential access that neocolonialism granted the West. At the very least, West African elites are finding that they have more room for maneuver between the West and other blocs. They have new options for exploiting their own people. The question is, what lies ahead? Comrades, imperialism's agenda is clear. The agenda is to resume direct control of West Africa by military force if necessary. A military force is required both to repress social resistance in West Africa and to exclude the West's major competitors effectively. Our future is difficult, it's stark. The United States and all of the major European powers, perhaps except Italy, are already engaged militarily on our soil through a series of shameful status of forces and security cooperation agreements. These agreements directly deny our sovereignty and confirm the spinelessness of our leaders. US and French military bases now encircle us in West Africa. The West is cynically manipulating our internal social problems which problems themselves are often products of colonialism, and the threat of militant Islam, which is definitely a product of neocolonialism, to terrorize our leaders into submission. Now, comrades, ECOWAS leaders, in their alienation and panic, have announced a plan to engage militarily with ECOWAS member countries that have overthrown corrupt and oppressive leaders, under the pretext of restoring bankrupt constitutional arrangements and corrupted electoral systems. We do not support military usurpations of power. However, a military response, especially one by leaders of questionable popular legitimacy themselves, offers no solution for the people of West Africa. ECOWAS military action does not restore our people's control over their destinies. Instead, comrades, it will provoke a conflagration, the collapse of more of our fragile democracies, and hundreds of thousands of deaths. But it will leave our strategic and precious resources intact for imperialist exploitation. And that's all that matters for the West. Could this happen? It sounds like madness, I know. But as you've observed, this will not be the first time that imperialism has slaughtered our people for profit, to protect profits. Further, as we've indicated, Western forces are already deployed on the ground and multiplying across West Africa. And we have also recently seen how ready the US and its allies in NATO are willing to destroy Ukrainian lives to weaken a nuclear-armed Russia, or to destroy Taiwan's semiconductor industry. A US general said this in the last 5 days or so, that they will not allow Taiwan's semiconductor industry to fall under the control of the People's Republic of China, and that they will destroy it physically before they allow that to happen. So it is really not difficult to conceive that they have such dire intentions towards us. So, comrades, we must either step up our self-organization or suffer a massive and sharp reversal in our fortunes. We cannot confront this threat and the many other threats as fragmented national and sectoral movements. There's a real challenge ahead of us, where all our countries are in an economic meltdown. All our countries are faced now with IMF and Washington-inspired recovery processes. We're all in hock to international private debt. I saw a few days ago that Tanzania's airplanes are being seized by debtors in Europe. We have to have a plan. We have to have a sense of what we will do. When our citizens, out of frustration and sheer desperation, begin to riot in the streets, what is the response of progressives? We've seen that happen in Sierra Leone, and the response was repression. As we speak now in Ghana, institutions representing mass bodies are lining up to reject the latest solution to Ghana's debt crisis, which is to rob everybody and pay the financial institutions. Where does this end? What leadership are we as anti-imperialists, as Pan-Africanists, offering to our people in this situation? So we must unite and deploy politically or face a total meltdown. Even if we escaped direct colonization, the West will still control our subsoil resources, finances, and our trade systems, including something as basic as our currencies, the CFA problem that exercises us. The West will deepen its control over our soils, water bodies, forests, and seeds, and it will increase its influence over our thinking. And so we are here. We're here to think through how we respond to these threats and how we build something new and wholesome. Comrades, this conference will not create anti-imperialism. It will not create Pan-Africanism. Both have a long and honorable history. As I've said, they're like rivers flowing inexorably to the ocean. Many twists and turns, many tributaries, but we are part of a much larger and more potent tradition. What we hope to achieve in this meeting is to become, as West Africa, a stronger tributary, a stronger contribution to the overall anti-imperialist and Pan-Africanist flow. There isn't time today to rehearse, to go through the history of the Pan-Africanist tradition. And I believe Comrade Philippe has said a bit about that. And I think probably during our deliberations, there'll be an opportunity to discuss that for those of you who might not be as familiar with it as some of us are. And there are many, many people here who know far more than I do about these matters. Suffice it to say that there are hundreds of organizations in West Africa that articulate an anti-imperialist and Pan-African approach to resolving our region's problems. There are perhaps also thousands of organizations who instinctively share our positions, but do not articulate them as we do. And there are hundreds of millions of people who, confronted with the information and the choices as we understand them, would opt for a united anti-imperialist Africa. How do we put the correct information in front of these organizations and peoples? How do we help them make the necessary choices and act on them? That's why we're here today. Many of us in the room today suffered the frustration, isolation, and even danger following the great neoliberal counter-revolutions of the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. And many of us could only lift our heads above the parapet from the late 1990s onward. And we saw a desolate, despoiled political landscape, dominated by pro-Western NGOs. But we saw also that imperialism was floundering under its own weight. And we heard rumors of a broader revival of mass anti-imperialist activism worldwide. We began hoping that the river had rounded another bend and again flowed towards the sea. And we worked to be ready to resume open struggle. Organizations such as my own SMG emerged. Others came out of hiding and began to work more or less openly. Without these waiting warriors and their organizations, today would not be possible. A credible event in the history of today's conference was the third Pan-Africanism Today conference held here in this hotel in 2018. Some of you here participated in that meeting, and I think many of you have studied its papers and its conclusions. Part 3, or PAT3, brought together 350 activists from 62 countries to discuss anti-imperialism and what a Pan-African project would look like today. It was a groundbreaking event which brought the world to Winneba. It was the largest gathering of the continental mass movement in 50 years, at least. For those of you who don't know, the PAT Secretariat, Pan-Africanism Today, in Joburg, and the International People's Assembly in Sao Paulo were the ones who organized this conference, with SMG as the local organizer. IPA and PAT are processes. They are processes for stimulating, facilitating, and coordinating anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist, anti-racist mass organization. We in SMG are proud to participate in the work of both processes. And it is our hope that following the deliberations we'll have over the next couple of days, many more organizations here will engage directly with these platforms independently and participate in strengthening our collective work. We certainly hope that the vehicle that comes out of this meeting will engage with PAT and with IPA directly. The PAT conference was a furious and intense discussion. It was a moment of expression of people who hadn't been able to express for many, many years. People who hadn't been able to meet comrades and comradely organizations for many, many years. It was an awakening for many others and a resolution for all of us. The conference called, amongst other things, for the generalization of our many national and issue-specific struggles for justice and the unification of social movements currently waging these struggles. That's us. This unification will come only from greater interaction and solidarity amongst these movements and their leadership. Through meetings such as these, i.e. the PAT meeting, and through acceptance of specific common tasks and ways of working. That's what this is all about. The conference gave us confidence to start planning and not just dreaming about a gathering such as this. It also helped us with instruments to take that work forward. For example, almost all of your organizations have participated in the work of the Amilcar Cabral School that SMG organizes regularly in Ibri, in Eastern Ghana. But Amilcar Cabral is just one of several popular schools developing around the continent. We have the Nkrumah School and the Fanon School in South Africa. We now have a Chris Hani School in Zambia. We have the Tunis School in Tunisia. And we have a school, I've forgotten the name immediately, developing in Kinshasa in the DRC. Okay. These schools work as a network, sharing systems, faculty, and even students, and strengthening the relations amongst participation organizations across Africa, Asia, and Latin America, and beyond, in fact. Of course, like everything else, our planning was disrupted by the pandemic in 2020. It was therefore not until the 1st of August last year, on the margins of SMG's National Congress, again held here in this hotel, that leaders from the Communist Party of Benin, from the Communist Party, the Revolutionary Communist Party of La Côte d'Ivoire, they're here, and SMG could sit down, and we sat down where we had the event last night, and work out a platform to define collaboration between progressive organizations within West Africa, building on the existing collaboration in the areas of education and the areas of media. This meeting led to more concrete and logistical planning meetings in Cotonou, Abidjan, and Accra, starting from January this year. It also led to an outreach program in which, using the databases available from PAT, using the databases available from the Amilcar Cabral School, using the historic knowledge that individuals had about who is engaged in what struggle where, we were able to design an outreach program to identify organizations that we hoped would build the foundation for a West African process. These visits were enlightening. You gave us directions regarding shared aspirations, specific constraints, and the different sensitivities that organizations had. Most of what we learned in these visits has found its way into the documents prepared for this conference. The West Africa Situational Report, the charter, the draft charter for an organization, and the draft constitution. Comrades, there's no doubt that we could have held a much larger meeting today, but the preparatory committee, chaired of course, as I'm sure you know by now, by Comrade Philippe, thought it wise to start small with the organizations that can anchor a Pan-Africanist project in each different country, and we needed organizations with a good sense of the local terrain and the credibility and the constructive relations that would allow them to work with other members of the progressive community in their country, generally. The preparatory committee is grateful to all the organizations that participated in our outreach, even those who are not here today. The work does not stop with this conference. If anything, now is the time to start recruitment and engagement around concrete work programs for our region. Comrades, this meeting will be a success if it achieves 4 things. Firstly, and I can see that this is already happening, we must get to know each other better and deepen our personal and organizational relationships and solidarity. In the challenging years ahead, this solidarity will make all the difference between success and failure. I am awed by the leaders I've been privileged to meet or learn about through the Amilcar Cabral School and the preparatory committee visits. I've learned of people's struggles, people's doggedness, people's creativity, and people's determination. And I'm overjoyed that this meeting enables us to connect and explore work and struggle together. And I think the program we've designed allows ample time for this networking. Secondly, comrades, we must understand our sub-region's problems concretely. How imperialism works to destroy us, and where our struggles fit in the larger global scheme of things. Because of course, what is happening here is not happening in isolation. The preparatory committee has developed 2 documents for your consideration. As I said, we have prepared a conjunctural analysis of the sub-region. This report is a comparatively long document compared to the other 2 that we prepared, but it is laid out logically to tie together the common themes of our struggles and enable a current, regional, and political analysis rather than national and sectoral analysis of what is going on. We hope this document will inform debates about specific objectives and targets and strategy, how to approach these things. The Preparatory Committee has also prepared a draft platform that describes who we are, that speaks about the crisis of the West African sub-region that we are responding to. The draft platform sets out our processes, minimum shared policy and political position. It speaks not only to the immediate problems of West Africa, but to broader global issues that will enable us as West Africa to work with other units of the internationalist struggle. This platform document, suitably amended in the commissions and in plenary, is something we must adopt before we leave here for the guidance of the leadership that we intend to put in place, that we hope to put in place before we leave. Thirdly, comrades, we must develop a structure that enables functional working relationships to build our Pan-Africanism. Therefore, we have also prepared a draft constitution that describes our membership criteria and the rights and obligations of the organizations that join our fold. It also discusses a structure involving a General Assembly of all participating organizations, a coordinating council that acts between the General Assemblies, which happen every 4 years, and a secretariat hosted by a member organization, which will be responsible for day-to-day administration of our collective work. We must also adopt this constitution with the amendments that come from the floor before we leave here. Finally, comrades, we must leave here with a leadership team in place. A leadership that reflects the character of our region and all its differences and configurations, and a leadership of people that we trust to carry our agenda forward. So, comrades, this is really just a statement of our political objectives for this meeting. The processes that we intend to follow are set out in the program that you have, and will be elaborated by the conference secretariat, who goes into what commission, how the commissions will work, and so on. Somebody else will speak to that in detail. My task was just to introduce everybody to where we are and where we're trying to get politically, and to hope that we can leave this room with a clear basis for the work we need to do for the people of West Africa, for the people of Africa, and for the people of the world. With that, comrades, I am finished. Thank you very much.
Social, we Well, comrades, thanks very much for that display, that really splendid display. We have been joined again by a representative of a frontline state. A frontline state in the battle against imperialism. A frontline state in the struggle to build socialism, to build that new world in which working people have control over production and distribution. This frontline state has increasingly forced imperialism, especially US imperialism, to display its lawlessness before us. This frontline state has increasingly compelled imperialism under the leadership of the United States of America to display its raw, aggressive, violent nature. It is my pleasure to welcome to this meeting the ambassador of Cuba in Ghana. Now, comrades and friends, it is time for solidarity messages. And as I said earlier on, this conference is scheduled to last 3 days. The business before us is so huge that we are struggling to conclude it in 3 days. We'll be greatly helped if the solidarity messages are short, so that we can have time to discuss all the many issues which were outlined in the presentation of Comrade Chirikrie Opoku and also Comrade Felipe. So keep the solidarity messages short. It is important for us. I'd like first and foremost to announce a list of those who have requested to give solidarity messages. And if your name is not on and you still insist on giving a solidarity message, please approach us, and you know who us is. We shall first read a message of solidarity from Professor Francis Nkrumah, the first son of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and also an active member of the socialist movement of Ghana. That would be the first solidarity message. We would also be taking solidarity messages from Pan-Africanism Today from South Africa, which may include the solidarity message of the Socialist Party of Zambia, and which may include also the solidarity message of the Metal Workers Union of South Africa. We shall take a message from the Trades Union Congress of Ghana and its affiliates, and we shall take a message from the Embassy of the State of Palestine. There will be a message also from the Communist Party of La Côte d'Ivoire, the Revolutionary Communist Party of La Côte d'Ivoire, the Communist Party of Benin, the PAIGC, All Africa People's Revolutionary Party, and UNTGCC of Guinea-Bissau. These are the solidarity messages we have listed. If there are any more, we'll be happy to take them for as long as they are brief. Comrade Chairperson, with your permission, we will also be taking a message from the Embassy of Russia. Yes, we will also be taking a message from the Embassy of Russia. But Comrade Chair, with your permission, I'd like to read this very special message from Professor Francis Kwesi Nkrumah, and it reads, "It was with great pleasure and high hopes that I received your invitation to attend this historic event, because in the coming together of the peoples of West Africa to reignite this struggle lies the seed for a broader cooperation and ultimate union of the peoples of Africa. My father, Osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, began this struggle even before he returned to the then Gold Coast in 1947 and advocated and fought for it throughout the road to independence, his tenure in office till his overthrow in 1966, and even through the years of his exile and ultimate death in 1972. And still, the struggle continues. This conference is not only timely, but of critical importance at this watershed moment in Africa's history, when many parts of our continent are marred in fomented wars, climate change disasters, poverty, and joblessness, with seemingly no control of either our resources or our destiny. A conference such as this is without doubt part of the solution to this state of affairs. Together we stand, divided we fall. Unfortunately, I'm unable to be physically present with you at this time, but wish to assure you of my support and solidarity with you, the Socialist Movement of Ghana, and all the participants in your efforts to create a unified front to build a better future for the youth of Africa. I wish all the delegates, all conveners of this conference, a productive and successful deliberation culminating in concrete action plans which will bring the prospects of a better world significantly closer to fulfillment. Aluta continua. The struggle began so long ago still continues, and therein lies the hope of a united and prosperous Africa in control of its own destiny. With warm fraternal greetings, Professor Francis Kwesi Nkrumah. Comrades, we now like to call on the delegation from South Africa. We'd like to call Comrade Yonis from South Africa, who will speak on behalf of the Pan-African Today project. He will speak on behalf of many other component organizations that he himself will announce. Comrade Yonis.
Viva Pan-Africanism, viva! Forward to socialism, forward! Comrades, Comrade Chair, delegates to the first West African People's Organization meeting, members of the organizing committee, special guests who are with us today, it gives me great pleasure to be able to send greetings to you all on a historic day in a historic town for a historic meeting. My name is Yonis Gedialasso. One of my tasks is that of coordinating the work of the Pan-Africanism Today Secretariat. The PAT Secretariat has been mentioned already. It takes its mandate not only from meetings like this one, but also from the people's movements and organizations
throughout Africa and the world who have recognized that the task ahead of us is that of building a world that is free from all forms of exploitation and oppression. I'm also privileged to be able to pass greetings from some of the core organizations that not only participate in the work of PAT, but who are playing an active role in leading this important revolutionary task, who are unable to be with us today. So today, the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa is starting a Central Committee meeting, but on behalf of its General Secretary, Comrade Ivan Jim, and the entire Central Committee, I have been asked to pass on a message of solidarity, a message of support, and the best wishes for this important meeting. Similarly, there's a comrade who will be joining us, the International Officer of the Socialist Party of Zambia. She's not here yet, but in her absence, and with the permission of the leadership of the Socialist Party, I have been asked to share a message of support and solidarity. Similarly, the president of the People's United Democratic Movement in Swaziland, who's traveling from South Africa and who's not yet arrived, he will be with us shortly, but has also asked Pat to make sure that this conference appreciates that the work that is being taken on here is furthering the aims of Pudemo in Swaziland, of NUMSA in South Africa, of the Socialist Party in Zambia, but also of the Workers' Democratic Way in Morocco, of Abahlali Basim John Dolo, the Shack Dwellers movement in South Africa, and many, many other people's movements and organizations. I want to make 3 quick points, not as an instruction, but as a contribution to this very important meeting. The first is that the formation of PAT and the consolidation of the work of the Secretariat in 2018 in this very city is based on a recognition that capitalism and imperialism have no solutions for the problems that confront humanity. In the world that we are in today, the 22 richest men in the world have more wealth than all the women on the African continent. In West Africa alone, half of the countries that form part of West Africa are hosting some form of a foreign military base. What are these bases protecting? Well, perhaps we can find a clue in the fact that in France, 1 in 3 light bulbs is powered by uranium that comes from Niger, but 82% of the people in Niger do not have electricity. This is the scenario that we find ourselves in a world that has been dominated not just by the capitalist mode of production, but by capitalism in its imperialist stage, with many countries led by the United States and Western Europe playing a brutal, violent role in suppressing our people and our opportunities for taking the wealth of our countries, of our continent, and of the world, and making our people the beneficiaries of that wealth. It is clear, therefore, that in the world, and as we are gathering in this meeting, we have a choice to make, and it's a simple choice. It's a choice of aligning ourselves with the people's camp or with the enemy camp. Are we in favor of freedom, dignity, and a decent quality of life for all people? Or do we want to continue enabling the accumulation of a small group of people at the expense of the majority? So it is our hope that this conference is going to place itself firmly on the side of the people. And from what we've heard so far, it is evident that that is the direction we want to take. But it is also important for us to appreciate many of the special guests that are here today, countries who have taken time to be represented here today, who have chosen an independent path of development. Because I think it is very important for us to not lose sight of the fact that no one is anyone else's big brother. and the task of saying that the principles of unity within our countries and among the people's forces within our countries and sovereignty is something that in many places continues to elude us, but that is a principal cardinal point of what it is that unites us. So we are very happy to pass greetings also to some of the embassies that are represented, the people's struggles that are represented here, and we want to share with you that at the end of the day, we will have small disagreements, but the big question we must have in common is that independence, unity, sovereignty, and dignity for our people cannot be compromised on. The third point I want to make has to do with this meeting. At the cusp of the revolution in China, Comrade Mao Zedong made a speech and said that the Chinese people, after 200 years of humiliation, have stood up. In 1984, when Comrade Thomas Sankara changed the completely meaningless 1884 name of Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, to the land of the upright people, it was a signal that we have stood up. Today's meeting, which is kick-starting here, it is our hope that it is also the start of the people of West Africa having stood up against centuries of colonialism, of imperialism, of capitalist exploitation, and of saying that we are taking the future into our own hands. So with those few words, and on behalf of myself, the Secretariat in PAT, the leadership of the people's movements and organizations that anchor the work that we do, I want to pass on a heartfelt message of support and to say to you and to the organizing committee, to the leadership of especially the Communist Party of Benin, of La Côte d'Ivoire, and of the leadership of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. You are not simply the participants in a larger process, but this meeting we are expecting to take leadership from it and to continue to follow the important lines that have been set by you. There's a very important phrase that is used in the labor movement of saying two things. Number one, an injury to one is an injury to all. And that number two, united we stand, divided we fall. Our task is to stand together and to be united and to take forward the noble struggle of Pan-Africanism towards a future free of exploitation and oppression. Thank you very much, comrades, and have a good conference.
Comrades, just a little caution at this stage. The caution is very simple. As we do know, Comrade Yunis spoke for about 5 organizations. So if you're only one organization, don't try to emulate him. As if all the organizations emulated him, we'll be sleeping here today. He spoke for 5 organizations. Please be mindful of that. At this stage, we would like to invite to the podium the Embassy of Russia in Ghana.
Esteemed organizers, honorable guests, participants, dear comrades, good morning. My name is Alexander Gromov. I'm in charge of the political section of the Russian embassy. And first of all, I would like to express a sincere and personal gratitude to General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, Uncle Kwesi Pratt, for inviting us today to this undoubtedly historical event. But today I'm standing here not in my personal capacity. On behalf of the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Russian Federation to the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Sergei Berdnikov, I am honored and really excited to deliver his message to you, dear comrades. Our country has always attached particular importance to development of friendly relations with African states. Of course, throughout the history, the ties between Russia and the African countries have witnessed different stages. However, they've never been stained with colonialism. Russia has always strived for building the relationship on mutual respect of the interests of both sides, and never on the basis of superiority, dominance, or exploitation. Today, Russia notes with satisfaction the growing role of the African states in international affairs, supports the efforts of the African Union to build a just and truly democratic world in the good sense of this word, and helps to counter terrorism, extremism, piracy, and other threats to global and regional security. In our understanding, all the said challenges are inevitable consequences of the outmoded concept of a unipolar world, so securely enshrined by the US and their military allies. Driven entirely by the imperialistic ambitions, this concept does not tolerate any demonstration of sovereignty, neglects national interests and people's rights. What to say if in its desire to isolate Russia, Western countries are ready to provoke the global food crisis? Having imposed sanctions on the Russian Federation for it dares to fight back against the silent expansion of NATO, the United States and the European Union block almost entire Russian export of cheap grain and fertilizers to African countries, putting more than 200 million of people under the risk of starvation. Another blatant example of the unscrupulousness of the Western policies is the recent voting on the Russian draft resolution condemning Nazism. On the 4th of November this year, the Third Committee of the UN General Assembly adopted Russia's draft resolution titled, quote, "Combating glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism, and other practices that contribute to fueling contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance." For more than 15 years, Russia has been submitted this document in its different editions to the United Nations. This year, however, the said resolution has truly become a litmus test for political hypocrisy. The so-called civilized West proved itself ready to sacrifice all the ethical and moral principles for the sake of its dominance. If in the past years the document got only 2 to 4 votes against it, then this time 52 countries representing almost the entire European Union, including the United States and Japan, voted against its adoption. Unlike the civilized West, the African countries did not change their previous respective positions. And the most frightening detail of this situation, that is, for the first time in the history of the United Nations, the former Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan, jointly voted against the resolution condemning the Nazism and racism. We see it as a sacrilege towards the memory of millions of victims of German Nazism, Italian fascism, and Japanese militarism, as well as their true and undisguided stance on the contemporary problem of racism. In view of the aforesaid, the Embassy welcomes the establishment of the West Africa People's Organization as the first organization in this part of the continent that shares the common values and aims with the Russian Federation. Many efforts have been applied by the organizers and conveners for this meeting to happen, yet much more work is to be done for the aims proclaimed to be implemented. And in this regard, we wish you good luck on your way to make the life of people happier and freer. Thank you for your attention.
Comrades, it does appear that all the frontline states are here. Amongst us is a representative of the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Can we please give a round of applause to the representative of the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran? We would now like to call a representative of the Labour Movement of Nigeria, or the Nigerian Labour Movement. He would speak for the entire Nigerian Labour Movement, including the TUC of Nigeria, including the Health and Allied Workers Union, and including the Nigerian Labour Congress. Please come to the microphone.
Thank you. Amanla. Awetu. I bring fraternal greetings and solidarity from the entire labor movement in the Federal Republic of Nigeria to this very important conference. It is my pleasure to be here. I'm Comrade Martin Egbanobi. I'm the General Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Allied Professionals, a National Executive Member of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, a Central Working Committee member of Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. And I have the mandate to deliver this solidarity message on behalf of the Nigerian Labour Movement. I bring fraternal greetings and solidarity from the organized labor in Nigeria, most especially the entire leadership and the ST members that cut across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank the organizers for inviting me to this conference of great significance to the West African sub-region. There is no doubt that this event is apt due to numerous socio-economic, political, environmental, climatic, geological, developmental, and other human development crises confronting the sub-region at this material point in time. The convergence of like minds and social actors to draw conversation around this will go a long way in redefining the future of the sub-region and by extension the sub-Saharan Africa. This conference is capable of providing policy framework that will challenge the economic community of West African states, that is ECOWAS, to action in the area of providing leadership in confronting this aforementioned existential crisis in the sub-region. There is no doubt that the conference will achieve the same goals of bringing together various organizations, progressive organizations, that will drive the process of bringing about the needed revolutionary changes that will make the people of the sub-region to be liberated from all forces of oppression. It is our hope that the conference will come up with the rules of engagement with a framework to build unity and solidarity with due consideration on the diversity of the various countries and organizations in the sub-region. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to emphasize the role of the trade union in the narrative and within the context of this struggle, because we have to define the class character of this struggle. We have come together as likewise, as socialists, as change agents, as class fighters, as Pan-African, who believe that the current neoliberal policies across the sub-Saharan Africa has really strangulated our economy. In Nigeria today, we have the crisis from the downstream of the petroleum sector. And the crisis is occasioned by the intervention and activities of World Bank or Bretton Woods institution to determine even the pricing of our petroleum products. They have also killed the refineries of the country, that the country, 4 refineries, could no longer refine our petroleum products. and these products are being refined by those refineries, established by this neoliberal organization. They recruit these products. After they refining it, they bring it back to us at exorbitant prices. And a lot of sharp practices, oil theft, and all of those things going on in that region, especially in the oil producing area of the country. So the trade union movement has a role to play. And that is the position we want to emphasize. That within the context of the West African People's Movement, we must encourage the active participation of the trade union movement within this environment. It is important at this juncture to stress the significant role of trade unions and other social movements in the struggle against forces that perpetually undermine the growth and development of the people of the sub-region and Africa in general. This has made imperative the need to reinvent the formation of Pan-West Africa movement or Pan-African movement to drive this struggle. Today's industrial modern society is full of paradoxes and contradictions related to the conflict between economic growth, the environment, and sustainability. This tension is a central issue in the trade union practice. Major problems dating back to the advent of the Industrial Revolution, such as more or less uncontrolled and unregulated capitalism, exploitation, societal class division, and alienation, are still relevant on the global stage today. We salute the courage and the leadership provided by great Pan-Africanists like Kwame Nkrumah. Can we say today that we still have the like of these great Africans in our presence today in West Africa, in Africa? So we need to reinvent the wheel. We need to bring back the ashes of the old. We need to bring back the forces that made Africa to be liberated from colonialism, so that the present colonial approach being advanced by this imperialist country will be dismantled. Distinguished comrades, at this junction, I want to recommend that unions must adapt the process of unifying their forces, putting themselves together in the West African sub-region. I know we have Organization of African Trade Union Unity, but we have not seen more of this organization in recent time. So we need to reinvent the wheel. We need to bring back the power of the people. Amandla, Awage. We need to reinvent. We need to galvanize our efforts, because we cannot fight this in isolation. And therefore, we canvass from the Nigerian labor movement that there is need for a united trade union in West Africa and in Africa, so that we can fight this common exploitative agenda and liberate our people from the current economic crisis and from perpetual exploitation of our land. Africa has diverse resources, times of what we are endowed with naturally, but we don't enjoy these resources because they are being exploited by the same character that colonized Africa. In conclusion, I wish the conference a fruitful outcome as we brainstorm on how to solve the varied human development challenges confronting the sub-region and Africa in general. Viva international working class solidarity. Viva West Africa. Viva Africa. A lucha continua. Victoria Assad.
We will now welcome to the podium our comrade Joe from Sao Paulo, speaking for the International People's Assembly. International People's Assembly, Sao Paulo.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, other specially invited guests, delegates, officials, the brigade, comrades, friends, good morning. Like Eunice, I am part of the Secretariat for Pan-Africanism Today, and I've been deployed by them to be a part of the coordination of the Operative Secretariat of the International People's Assembly. The International People's Assembly is a platform that brings together over 300 people's organizations, movements, political parties, trade unions, who are interested in building unity and collective struggles around a shared anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, anti-Zionist, anti-racist, feminist, and ecological platform. You have heard, because we are represented here by organizations such as Pan-Africanism Today and leadership such as the Social Movement of Ghana, the Workers' Party of Tunisia. You've already heard a little bit about what we do. We are organized into regional, geographic regions, and Pan-Africanism Today is a secretariat that represents this region among us. When we first started, born out of a process in 2015, which was a meeting called The Dilemmas of Humanity, which sought to understand the moment we were living in and what was necessary to take class struggle forward, we had objectives very similar to those which Comrade Tree spoke about today for this meeting. In Africa, as he said, out of this process were born spaces like the Nkrumah School, the Almika Kerbal School, the school in Tunis, and others that he has listed, as well as regional conferences like the seminal Pan-Africanism Today conference in 2018 that took place in this very same premise here in Winneba, which Comrade Tree also spoke about a bit. I want to share with you briefly just 3 understandings that we have in the International People's Assembly from our years of exchange, conversation, collective study among ourselves, the organizations represented in the coordinating committee of our assembly. And the first one is an understanding that what we are going through now, what we are living, is not just a crisis of neoliberalism, but a profound crisis of the capitalist mode of production itself. And that has led to a cascading series of other crises, which we've spoken about: social crises, economic crises, the crisis of the bourgeois democratic state that we are seeing, the environmental crises. And as Jonas said, we know that the system that has brought about these crises cannot provide solutions to them, cannot provide solutions to the obstinate facts of hunger, cannot provide solutions to the environmental and ecological devastation, cannot provide solutions to war and other forms of violence, because in fact the system needs these problems to survive and to continue. The second reflection that I will share is that in our understanding, the primary contradiction of the moment that we are living in is the contradiction between US-led imperialism and that of its European allies against humanity, essentially. And I want to say that even in 2019, before the COVID pandemic, and before Western European imperialism was once again brought to heel under the leadership of the US by the developing situation in the Ukraine, the coordinating committee of the International People's Assembly had already lifted up imperialism as the malady that most equally affects all our regions of the world, albeit in very different forms. And based on that, we had come to the position that our anti-imperialist position was then the position that most unified us and was also the position around which we must organize internationally coordinated mobilizations and programs and campaigns. The third thing that I want to share is our belief that in this moment, the primacy of the ideological struggle is very important. So as Comrade Fidel taught us, the battle of ideas and the battle of emotions. And because of that, we have continued to deepen our work in political education in various schools and various activities across the globe. We have continued to do our work with an institute called the Tricontinental Institute for Social Research, which produces a variety of publications. I'm happy to say in French, in Portuguese, in Spanish, in English, which helps us to do movement-driven research that helps us with our analysis and helps us to continue with building revolutionary theory, which is important. And another area that we've defined as very important is to have better capacities in the question of media and communications. All of you here will be very familiar with Pan-Africanism, Pan-Africa TV. But also I want to introduce to you our comrade Prasanth. Just stand up and wave a little bit. This is Prasanth. He is a editor for People's Dispatch. And People's Dispatch is an international left news media platform online which brings development and voices from people engaged in struggle across the globe. And he's here to lift up this seminal conference, and I'm sure he's going to want to speak to many of you about the struggles that you are engaged in. So finally, I just want to say that we in the Assembly are extremely cognizant of the importance of the African continent. The role historically that our leaders and organizations have played in advancing for a struggle for a more equal and just world, and also the role that this continent must play currently and in the future in the anti-imperialist struggle and in the struggle for a more equal world. And so we are very happy to be here as observers today to learn more about what is happening in this very dynamic sub-region of Africa, because we know that we, the comrades of the diaspora in Latin America, in Asia, comrades in Europe and in North America, we need to have a better understanding of what is happening here so that we are then able to stand in solidarity effectively and constructively with comrades from West Africa. We need to understand what is happening across the Sahel. We need to have a better understanding of what is happening in Mali, in Burkina, in Sudan. And so for us, it is fundamentally important that we are here today, and we want to express our solidarity with you, send our best wishes for a very productive and progressive meeting today, and for the organization that will surely come out of this process. We say hasta victoria, siempre.
His Excellency, the Ambassador of the State of Palestine, will give us his message. His Excellency, the Ambassador of the State of Palestine, give us his message.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, good morning, and thank you for inviting me to this program. In the beginning, I'd like to talk about my brother and my friend and my teacher, Justice Akufu. I met him before 8 years in dinner, and I met him in the Freedom Center a lot of times, and I invite him to dinner in my embassy a lot of times too. All the time he talk about Palestine, talk about the suffering of my people in Palestine, and he support Palestine. Me and my people cannot forget his support and solidarity with the Palestinian people. So our sympathy and our condolence to his family. God bless him and bless his family. I am here today to support and to convey the support and the solidarity from all the Palestinian people to all of you. My people from Gaza, in the West Bank, and everywhere. And I'd like to thank Ghana about its support to Palestine and the Palestinian people. All the governments of Ghana support Palestine and they stand by our side. According to the international law, gonna stand by the side of justice, human rights, and the international law. And we will talk about this later. But look what's happening in our world now. My people suffering under the Israeli occupation more than 75 years. I'm from Gaza. I spent 45 years in Gaza. And I see everything with my eyes. I don't want anyone to talk to me about what's happened. I saw it. In the war 2008, the Israelis killed more than 2,650 from my people, 500 of them children. Nobody in that time, some of the big countries did not talk about the human rights, did not talk about the international law, did not talk about the justice to the Palestinian people. They forget it. In the war 2012, they killed more than 800 from my people, some of them women, some of them children, some of them teachers, some of them nurses, some of them doctors. In the war 2014, more than 2,000 people killed from my people. And I know some of these families who was killed there. In the war 2021, they killed around 100 people from my people. Since the last year only, the Israelis killed 246 from my people, some of them children, women, and teachers. Look what's happening in this world. These big countries did not talk about the justice, the human rights, the international law. And they support Israel with the weapons, they support them with the information, they support them with the money, they give them anything they needed. They're stealing our lands every day, they're stealing our lands. Every day they're building of illegal settlement. Every day they put checkpoints between our cities and villages because they want to do our life very difficult to leave our lands and villages. Every day they arrested my people, arrested women, arrested children, and every day the settlers come with the Israeli soldiers with the machine to cut our trees and stealing the olives from of the trees. The settlers every day and all the world watching this on the TV, but some countries did not talk. They closed their eyes when they talk about Palestine. They killed the journalist Abu Akle, and all the world saw this killing life. How the sniper shot her on her head. And the Israelis, we know, well, they will not arrest the sniper, and they will not take him to the prison. The leaders of Israel, since 1948, they said, after they started to occupy Palestine, they said the older Palestinian will die, and the small one, or the younger, will forget Palestine as their state. Look what's happened now. Now, the Palestinian people strong more than 1948, and Israel is weak more than 1948. We are suffering under this occupation, but we are strong more than them. And our struggle will continue. We will not stop. Because there is no force in this world can stop people looking for freedom. We are suffering from 1948, more than 75 years. And there's some countries, I'm sorry about that, they support Israel, as I said, support apartheid system of Israel against my people, and send to them, as I said, the weapons, the money, and the information, and anything they needed. In the Palestinian case, they forget the international law, they forget the human rights, they forget the justice. They destroyed Iraq and occupied it. More than 1 million from the Iraqi people killed. More than 6 million from the Iraqi people left their country. Iraq suffering to now. In that time, they forget the international law, forget the human rights, forget the justice. They destroyed Syria, and they try to destroy it. To now, they try to destroy Syria. And they support all the terrorist group inside Syria to destroy this country, because Syria have border with Israel. They destroyed Lebanon, and they destroyed Libya, and killed their president, Muammar al-Gaddafi. You know what's mean when I killed the president of country? I touched the dignity of all the people of this country. They killed the president of this country. And they fill Libya with all the weapons to the Libyan people to kill each other. They want to destroy this country. They forget the international law, forget the justice, forget the human rights. When they remember all these things, remember the international law, when the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, when the problem started between Russia and Ukraine, now they remember the human rights, they remember the international law, they remember the justice. And they send the weapons and the money to Ukraine. In our case, they send the weapons and the money to Israel to kill my people and to occupy my people. In Ukraine, they send the money and the weapons to Ukrainian people. And in my country, they send the same to the Israelis to kill my people. Look what's happened in Cuba, in Venezuela. They did not allow the country to selling its petrol to the other country. Why? Because I did not support your policy. If I did not support your policy, you do everything to stealing the smile of the lips of my children. You do everything to kill the hope of the future to my people. You destroy my country. This is the justice in the world. Why they blocked Cuba and Venezuela? And they tried to destroy this country. They tried to kill the love from the heart of those people. Honestly, I cannot understand now how many international law we have. 1, 2, 5, 6, I don't know. Maybe there is one to this country, and one to this country, and one to this country, and one to this country. Russia decided to add 4 cities to Russia. Okay. America said that this is injustice and against the international law. Okay. Okay. Injustice? Okay. What about the President of the Republic of America, Trump, when he sleep in the evening and woke up morning and he dreamed something, and in the morning he decided to add our capital, East Jerusalem, added to Israel. After that, he decided to add the Golan land to Israel too. East Jerusalem, according to the international law, it is Palestinian lands. And it is our capital. I talk about our heart. The Golan land, Israel occupied it in 1967. And Israel occupied East Jerusalem in 1967. It is Palestinian lands. The President of America decided to add it to Israel. Why? This is law. This is the international law. In Russia case, this is not international law. Why? How many international law we have? I believe all these things, it will finish soon. It will stop soon. Look what's happened in Viva in Qatar. Look, they said the Palestinian younger will forget Palestine. Look what's happened in Viva. Israel sent more hundreds from the journalists, from the TV and the newspaper to cover the Viva in Qatar. They tried to do, they was happy because they went to Qatar. They want to do interview with the Arab people there. When they start this interview and the journalists come to say, I want to do interview with you, the Arab people ask him, which TV please? He said, Israel. Look what's the answer of the people, the Arab people. From where? From Israel. No. From where? From Israel. Nothing, his name is Israel. There is only Palestine. From where? From Israel. No, there is only Palestine. From where? From Israel. You are killing our children in Palestine. From where? From Israel. No, you are killing the Palestinian people every day. So they try to change the name of their country. They said we are journalists from Malaysia. You see, when the Arabs people read the Hebrew language on the mic, they know that this is the Israeli language. So they come behind them and put the Palestinian flag and shouting with high voice, free, free Palestine. There is no one from the Arab countries, one, agree to do interview with Israeli television or Israeli newspaper. Many citizens from Argentina, Brasilia, French, British, they refused to do an interview with them. Our flag was in every place. The Israeli newspaper, the Israeli journalists, when they back, I saw them on their TV. I understand their language. I saw them. They said, we surprised. There is no one from the Arab world agreed to do interview with us. We're surprised because we see the hate from the Arab people to the Israelis. And we see how much the Arab people support Palestine and support the Palestinian people. They want the people to like them. Why? Do you think if you're killing children in the morning, the people will greet you in the evening and told you, thank you so much, drink cigarette and take Nescafe? The people will hate you, it is normal. They will not like you. They will not like your country. They will not like your army. They will not like your settlers. They will not like anything you do against people living under the Israeli occupation and did not have army, did not have Hebrew, did not have airport, did not have anything. Believe me, the Palestinian people is strong. We know that they have the weapons, but we have the believing. We will not leave our lands. And Palestine, the Palestinian people have very strong believing with the peace. And we pray to see the peace soon in our lands. Let's take care about the economy, the education, the women, and build our countries with the peace. And any person in this world think that we will see the peace in the Middle East soon without the establishment and an independent Palestinian state
of Benin.
Merci. Si je dis camarade, salut, vous dites salut camarade. Si je dis salut camarade, vous dites camarade, salut. Camarade, salut. Camarade, salut. Salut camarade. Merci. Messieurs les responsables du mouvement socialiste du Ghana, du Parti communiste du Bénin et d'autres organisations autour qui ont aidé à la tenue de cette rencontre. Je vous salue au nom de la Confédération syndicale des travailleurs du Bénin, CSTB. La CSTB, c'est au Bénin la confédération syndicale la plus représentative. Je salue et je félicite aussi ceux qui ont quitté les autres régions d'Afrique, Afrique du Sud, Tunisie, et ceux qui ont quitté d'autres pays, la Palestine, Cuba et comment on les appelle, le Venezuela et les gens de Cuba qui sont ici, l'ambassadrice qui est là. Je vous félicite tous pour être venus. Cette occasion est une bonne occasion. C'est une occasion très importante pour nous, travailleurs et peuples d'Afrique. Parce que les présidents, effectivement, ils l'ont dit, eux, ils ont des occasions de se retrouver chaque fois, de s'organiser contre les peuples pour soutenir l'impérialisme même, contre les peuples de chez eux. Et nous, travailleurs, nous, différentes organisations politiques, organisations de femmes et autres, nous avons des difficultés de nous réunir. Si des gens créent des conditions de cette rencontre, il faut en profiter au maximum. Vous l'avez dit, nous sommes dominés. Les pays africains sont dominés par l'impérialisme. Dans le monde entier. Ça fait que les pays ne se développent pas. La classe ouvrière ne se développe pas. Nous sommes là soumis toujours. Pas d'industrialisation en Afrique. Alors si on ne se lève pas, si on ne se met pas ensemble, on ne peut pas s'en sortir. Alors on a vu des gens. On a vu l'exemple de Cuba, qui pendant longtemps dominé par la superpuissance américaine. Ils n'ont pas pu réduire Cuba. Cuba est resté là. Il faut applaudir Cuba. Malgré tout ce que les gens font contre les Palestiniens, ils sont restés, ils résistent et ils continuent de résister. Il faut les applaudir. Mais dans cette domination globale, en Afrique, les peuples des pays francophones subissent une domination particulière. Et vous allez constater que les pays francophones sont plus pauvres encore que les pays anglophones. Le Bénin, la Côte d'Ivoire, le Sénégal, le Mali et autres. Ils sont dominés par la France qui les garde dans leur pauvreté, qui ne reconnaît même pas leur langue. On dit que c'est le français qui est la langue de travail au Bénin, en Côte d'Ivoire, ainsi de suite. Regardez la Côte d'Ivoire, c'est un grand pays, mais pauvre, parce que la France ne leur permet pas de se développer. Ainsi de suite. Le Sénégal et beaucoup d'autres pays. Vous regardez dans le système académique, au Nigeria par exemple, on ne parle pas de CAMES. Dans le système francophone, le professeur d'université doit être évalué par les Français dans le CAMES. C'est eux qui doivent contrôler l'école de chez nous. Ce système n'existe pas, ou en tout cas n'est pas criard dans le système anglophone. J'ai d'ailleurs appris tout récemment que les Nigérians ont décidé que les enfants apprennent dans leur langue maternelle au cours primaire. C'est formidable, il faut applaudir les Nigériens. C'est pour ça qu'avec ce qui se passe dans les pays francophones, où les gens sont dominés, tout le monde, vous avez vu le Mali, vous avez vu ce qui se passe, les gens protestent au Mali, les gens protestent au Burkina. Même au Bénin à l'heure actuelle, les Français ont amené une troupe pour dire qu'il y a insécurité. Ah, c'est eux qui provoquent l'insécurité. On ne connaissait pas affaire de djihadistes. C'est depuis qu'ils sont venus qu'on a commencé par voir les djihadistes. C'est pour cela que, au niveau des pays francophones, les syndicats sont en train de se concerter pour créer un mouvement. Déjà, on regardait, on a vu comment les travailleurs ont contribué à l'émancipation de l'Afrique. Union générale des travailleurs de l'Afrique noire, UGTAN, avant les indépendances, a contribué à l'indépendance de l'Afrique, même si cette indépendance est finalement hypothéquée. C'est pour ça que, à l'instar de l'UGTAN, nous avons commencé une concertation au niveau des pays de l'UEMOA, le Burkina, le Mali, la Côte d'Ivoire, le Bénin, le Niger, le Togo et autres. Nous étions déjà en concertation quand cette initiative est venue. Et je crois qu'il faut que nous saisissions cette occasion-là pour que et les pays francophones, et les pays anglophones et autres, nous qui nous sommes retrouvés ici, nous puissions nous concerter rapidement pour profiter de l'occasion et créer un cadre pour nous battre, parce que les présidents, eux, ils se réunissent tous les jours. C'est DAO, UEMOA, et ils se battent contre les peuples. Et nous, nous avons la possibilité de nous retrouver. Il faut qu'on se concerte pour créer un cadre qui puisse nous permettre d'avoir la force de nous battre aussi avec nos organisations politiques qui nous éclairent et toutes les autres organisations pour permettre de libérer l'Afrique pour que nous puissions vivre dans le monde entier et bénéficier donc des acquis de la science au plan mondial. C'est pour cela que je nous demande, en dehors des grandes plénières, qui est des concertations, qu'on profite au maximum, que les jeunes aussi qui sont là profitent de ça, les femmes qui sont là profitent de ça pour se concerter, pour voir comment nous allons faire pour devenir plus forts. Camarades, salut. Salut camarades. Je vous remercie.
The Trades Union Congress of Ghana and all its 22 affiliates. The microphone is for you. Trades Union Congress of Ghana and all its 22 affiliates.
Thank you, Comrade Pratt. Amandla! Amandla! Choboy! 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 I'd plead to stand on existing protocols and bring you greetings from the leadership and entire membership of the Trades Union Congress Ghana. In fact, at this time of year, it's quite crucial. We were formally invited to this meeting last November in our leadership meeting together with the SMG. And everybody agreed to be here. But we knew somehow that by this time of year, most of the leaders are in their National Executive Committee meetings. And so the majority of them are not here. But I'm grateful that at least I have been joined in this meeting by the General Secretary of the General Construction, Manufacturing and Quarry Workers Union, Sister Comfort, that I am seated with, and by the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU of the TUC, also seated there. We're looking forward to having join us in this meeting, General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, and would be very happy if he's able to get here in time. It's no news, and all the foregoing points have been made of the situation of ordinary working people today. So I'm not going to belabor the point. But the West African people for a new world. We're hoping that all the other sub-regional bodies would be organized such that we would have an African people for a new world. That's the dream of the TUC. And so indeed, we're looking forward to having more ideological and political education, which fortunately, together with the SMG, we're having that done at the highest level of the TUC, and really grateful for that to happen. And so, like our brother from Nigeria said, the Organization of African Trade Union Unity, the OATU, the OTUA, which is Organization of Trade Unions of West Africa, the ITUC Africa, and all the other continental bodies of unions. And I'm not going to repeat the point as the brother has already pointed out. We need to make an impact in conferences like this, because it is our conference. We're ordinary working people and taking for granted, falling on hard times because of all the reasons that have been already been given. And so for us, we're grateful to be invited here, and we're looking and following the discussions concisely so that at the end of the day, we would have a very resounding West African, successfully resounding West African People's Conference. And then following, our dream will be fulfilled of an African People's Conference, so that together with the ordinary people who are working in our gardens and in our kitchens, we can come up and say, this belongs to us, and so we're taking power for ourselves. Comrades, I say to you again, Choboi! Thank you.
The All African People's Revolutionary Party. All African People's Revolutionary Party.
Greetings. I quickly would want to do a salutation for the African woman, because they say that the African woman makes up for more than about 51% of the African revolution. And if you look around, you can see a fair representation of the African women here. So can we show some love to the African woman? Viva the African woman! Viva, Viva the African woman! Viva. All right. So within the AAPRP has a branch which is called the All African Women's Revolutionary Union, which sort of seeks to expose and fight the triple oppression of the African women, which is class, gender, and then race. All right? So, West African people for a new World Conference. Why is this possible? I mean, why do we need this now? Because of our reality today. A reality that for more than 30, 40, 50 years after independence, there's no self-help program. So what we do is to go to the IMF and World Bank. And the evidence of that is that we have a necklace of poverty that sort of follows us wherever we go. We have a rapid development of an urban slum population and unemployed youth. So a West African conference like this, which I guess is a self-help program, is to correct our reality today. So the AAPRP, being a Pan-Africanist, independent, a revolutionary organization, stands with the Communist Party of Benin, the Socialist Movement of Ghana, and a Pan-African today, okay, and addressing the reality, and is ready to participate and to fight and achieve for the 4-point objective that was outlined by the convener of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Forward to the people's progress.
We now invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of the People's Republic of Algeria. Viva! Viva!
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I will be brief and in line with the recommendation of Comrade Kwesi Pratt. And I will not repeat what just have been said before I took the floor. Comrade Kwesi Pratt, General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, Dear Excellencies, Ambassador of Cuba, Ambassador of Palestine, Ambassador of the Sahrawi Republic, dear colleagues from the diplomatic corps from Russia and Iran, distinguished participants and guests of the conference, the media community. My presence here today gives me a double satisfaction. Firstly, I feel satisfied to represent my country in this August gathering, and I am also satisfied to be able to respond with joy and pleasure to the invitation of my friend Kwesi Pratt, a man who is committed to the principles of Pan-Africanism, freedom, social justice, and the prosperity of the peoples. The theme of your conference, West Africa, African People for a New World, is a topical issue that does not leave you indifferent. It is true that the current international economic situation has clearly shown to which extent the principles on which the international system was built after the Second World War, and for the formulation of which the peoples of the Third World didn't not participate, as you may know, are at the odds of the aspirations of our peoples to dispose of their wealth and to build a better future of the generation to come. Moreover, this system perpetuates the exploitation of our natural resources by multinationals and wealthy countries, accentuates injustice and inequality, and promotes the development of underdevelopment. Hence, the importance of our meeting today, which offers you the opportunity to propose solutions and innovative approaches to resurrect the principle of Pan-Africanism that enable us as Africans to combine our efforts to find African solutions to the conflicts that are holding back the development of our peoples, to the climate change that is ravaging our crops and destroying our ecosystems, as well as to the poverty that is strengthening our youth and women. Ladies and gentlemen, the subjects you are about to address, I'm convinced, are of the utmost importance, but they should not overshadow the Palestinian people's struggle for their emancipation from the new apartheid and Zionism rules. And also the Sahrawi people struggle to exercise their inalienable right to self-determination. It is, therefore, your duty to make the international community face up to its responsibilities to assert the rights of the Sahrawi people to emancipation in accordance with the international law and the benefits fully from their wealth which is being plundered today by the occupying administration. I express here my solidarity with you, and I wish you your conference all success. And thank you very much for listening.
Faso Kano of Mali.
Bonjour tout le monde, bonjour camarades. Nous sommes très heureux aujourd'hui de voir les camarades, les représentants diplomatiques réunis dans cette salle pour parler de la même cause, l'Afrique, l'avenir de l'Afrique en général. Applaudissez pour vous. Je suis Hawadit Félicie Savané, Faso Kano qui se réclame héritier politique du président Modibo Keïta, vous remercier pour l'organisation de cette conférence dénommée Conférence des peuples ouest africains. Je vais être bref. L'Afrique a vraiment besoin de ça aujourd'hui. Comme le dit le président Modibo Keïta lors du congrès extraordinaire le 22 septembre 1960, le jour de l'accession de mon pays à l'indépendance. Je cite, « Nous avons estimé et nous estimons encore que c'est dans l'unité que l'Afrique pourra résister à l'emprise des forces impérialistes et renforcer le camp de la paix. » Modibo Keïta, il est dit encore en 1965 sur un adage bambara, une langue de chez nous. Je cite, « La mort vaut mieux que la honte. » Modibo l'enrichit. Il dit, dans le contexte dont nous vivons, c'est vaincre ou périr. Ça veut dire que dans le contexte dont nous vivons, c'est de vaincre ou périr. Donc nous devons vaincre. Je dirais ici que nous sommes condamnés de lutter si nous voulons la paix. Face au canon qui se réclame, qui est dans la même voie politique de Modibo Keïta, vous réaffirme que seule l'unité pourra sauver l'Afrique. Et la solution du peuple appartient au peuple bien organisé et bien édifié dans la lutte dont il doit mener. Tous pour chacun, chacun pour tous. Je vous remercie.
The comrade I'm about to invite to the microphone, it's so many things that I can't keep track. So what I'm going to do is to invite this comrade to the microphone and he can tell us who he is, what he's representing, and any other thing. He is just too many things for me. My brother, my comrade, my friend, Imani.
Thank you, brother and comrade Kwesi Pratt, Secretary General of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Aluta Victoria. Before we go any further, we would like to give our revolutionary greetings and thanks to the organizers of this historical gathering, led by our brother and comrade, Professor Philippi, President of the Secretariat, along with all of his staff. A great round of applause for our comrade. Secondly, we would like to give our revolutionary greetings to our comrades representing the peoples of Algeria, the peoples of the Sahrawi Republic, the peoples of Cuba, the peoples of the Federation of Russia, the peoples of Algeria, the FLN, to all of our comrades who are here together with us. Give them a round of applause as well. Our greetings to our comrades, delegates. But before we go any further, if it were not for our comrades who are locked up into these translation booths, translating for us, we cannot hear each other. So a great round of applause for interpreter team. We are proud to represent the great Pan-Africanist Party, the African Party of Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, founded by one of the greatest Pan-Africanists in the world, Comrade Amilcar Lopes da Costa Cabral. And viva! Viva! And we're honored to be here with a strong sister comrade who has served as the vice president of this party for years, who is presently a member of the National People's Assembly, Comrade Odette Costa Semedo. The presidency of the PIDC always makes sure that at least 50% of the vice presidents are sisters. This sister is one of our examples. The PIDC started as a Pan-Africanist party, continues to be a strong Pan-Africanist party, and is proud to be with the Secretariat of the International People's Assembly, as well as the Pan-Africanism Today Secretary. So a great round of applause for them as well. We were honored to be in this very room in 2018 when they held the third Pan-Africanism Today conference, and we're honored to have the opportunity to send our comrades of the Amilcar Cabral Political Ideological School of the PIDC in each and every training session here in the Amilcar Cabral School in Ghana. And we will continue to work with the Pan-Africanism Today and the International People's Assembly, not only with words, but in deed. The PIDC is the organized expression, politically organized, of the culture, the African culture of our people, who picked up guns to fight against NATO with the Portuguese colonialists. The PIDC, the party, has been victimized by coups, by persecution, by jailings, by beatings. Still, it continues to be stronger and represents the overwhelming majority, legitimate interests of our people, not only in Guinea-Bissau, but in Africa as well. The PIDC, the party that won the last legislative election, has been pushed out of power by another coup d'etat led by the reactionaries of ECOWAS. As we speak to you today, there are armed troops in Guinea-Bissau, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Senegal, protecting an illegal, illegitimate, unconstitutional coup d'etat president against the wishes of our people. They're the ones who are in the leadership that you were talking about earlier. They organized a so-called armed regime to defend against coup d'etats, where they themselves are coup makers. Abide with them, down with them. The PIDC reiterates our determination to make sure that we coordinate. Our enemy is coordinating, and we too must coordinate. We must coordinate to go together with our comrades out of Russia, our comrades out of Iran, our comrades of Algeria, our comrades of Cuba. We stand ready for the revolution, and we'll be with you forever and ever. Long live the African Revolution. Long live the West African People's Conference for a New World Conference. Long live socialism. Long live Pan-Africanism. Death to imperialism. Death to Zionism. Long live the revolution. Vive la revolution. A luta. Victoria. Hasta la victoria. Pan-Africanismo or morte. Pan-Africanism or death. Thank you.
naminya, 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 nana monye. Sukume tutu, mama na bebo, tena makawo. Osa babu oriko, sabawane banta pe watuni me. Aye, 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 mewo aye. Naminya, nana monye, esukume tutu, dakone mela, tena mokao, sababu aluko, sabawane ba, entampe watuni me. Aye, 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 mewo, aye, 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 aye. Sababu aluko, sabawane ba, nyamiya. We babu we. We babu we. Oh my simple, Miria erugoro. Oh my simple, before Miria erugoro. Sawamba.
The trade union movement of Guinea-Bissau. Trade union movement of Guinea-Bissau.
Merci. Bon, ça va pas être très facile pour moi de parler après Imani, mais je vais quand même faire l'effort. Illustres invités, camarades, sœurs et frères, Nyamantenya. Pas besoin de traduire Nyamantenya, ça vient de ma langue, c'est local, ça veut dire mes salutations. Je m'appelle Yasser Touré, et comme vous le soupçonnez, je n'ai pas eu ce nom par hasard. Mon nom Yasser Touré m'a été donné pour honorer un certain illustre et très connu combattant qui s'appelle Yasser Arafat. Celui qui me l'a donné, c'est mon père, qui est aussi un vétéran de la guerre d'indépendance de la Guinée-Bissau et ami très proche d'Amilcar Cabral. Donc, comme vous me voyez ici, coule dans mes veines le sang du panafricanisme et le sang de la lutte d'indépendance pour l'Afrique. Si je suis ici aujourd'hui, c'est pour représenter les travailleurs de la Guinée-Bissau. Ceux qui sont certainement affiliés dans ma centrale syndicale, mais aussi tous les travailleurs de la Guinée-Bissau. Et en leur nom, j'aimerais remercier profondément les organisateurs de cet événement, car c'est la première fois que nous participons. Et si je dois dire un seul mot pour qualifier les émotions qui sont en moi, ce seul mot se résumerait à « Waouh ». Waouh, je ne m'attendais pas à ça. Waouh, je ne m'attendais pas à découvrir qu'il y a encore dans le cœur et dans l'esprit des Africains ces idéologies qu'on n'entendait plus parler depuis fort longtemps. Et j'aimerais très sincèrement dire à cette organisation et dire à l'ensemble de vous tous qui est là que vous pouvez compter sur l'entière solidarité et la dédication des travailleurs de la Guinée-Bissau. La centrale syndicale que je représente a été fondée en 1961 par notre illustre Amilcar Cabral. Et aujourd'hui, nous continuons cette bataille, nous continuons ces idéologies qu'il nous a léguées. Et si je dois laisser un message au nom de mes camarades et collègues travailleurs de la Guinée-Bissau, mais aussi, je pense, de toute l'Afrique, c'est de dire aux gens qui sont assis ici, dire à ce mouvement panafricaniste, que nous, les travailleurs, nous sommes fatigués. Nous sommes sincèrement fatigués. Mais nous sommes fatigués de quoi? Nous sommes fatigués de gaspiller notre énergie pour aller travailler et produire pour un système et modèle économique qui n'est plus viable. Un modèle économique qui ne nous respecte pas. Un modèle économique que de toutes ces dernières années n'a fait que créer de crise en crise. Et si nous avons une demande à faire au nom de tous les travailleurs, c'est qu'il est bien temps que le panafricanisme commence à réfléchir sur un modèle alternatif. Car il n'y a qu'à travers un modèle alternatif que nous pouvons trouver la paix et la prospérité. Je vais m'arrêter là. Merci.
Workers' Party of Tunisia. Workers' Party of Tunisia.
Salut camarades. Merci au comité d'organisation pour l'invitation. Au moment où se déroule la Coupe du Monde, qui sème l'illusion de la victoire et de la joie de quelques équipes africaines à nos peuples, vous tenez cette conférence qui va semer la conscience de classe, la vraie solution à l'Afrique. Très heureux de la présence des jeunes femmes qui sont l'avenir de l'Afrique. C'est l'impérialisme qui est responsable de tous nos malheurs. Liquidation de nos martyrs, pillage de nos richesses, complot et coup d'État. Le Parti des travailleurs vous encourage pour votre effort d'unir les peuples d'Afrique contre l'impérialisme capitaliste et ses agents, bourgeoisie comprador et régime réactionnaire ou fasciste, en faveur de la classe ouvrière et les paysans pauvres, de la jeunesse et des femmes. Vive la révolution, abat les institutions bourgeoises, dégageons l'impérialisme et ses capitalistes, dégageons le sionisme, vive la classe ouvrière, vive l'internationalisme.
It is now time for PDG RDA from Guinea. PDG RDA from Guinea.
Camarades pour la révolution, l'impérialisme, le néocolonialisme, honneur, victoire, pouvoir, tous les pouvoirs, fidélité, stricte fidélité, prêt pour la révolution. Camarades, président du mouvement national du Ghana, socialiste du Ghana. Camarade président du comité d'organisation de la conférence ouest-africaine des peuples. Excellences, Messieurs les ambassadeurs présents. Camarades délégués des partis progressistes panafricains, distingués invités. Nous venons d'un pays qui a fait 60 ans de colonisation sous le joug colonial français. Nous venons du pays d'Ahmed Sékou Touré, artisan de la libération totale des pays africains. Nous avons accepté, au nom du camarade secrétaire général Mohamed Touré, qui est également le fils du président Ahmed Sékou Touré, aujourd'hui incarcéré par les Yankees américains, de répondre à cet appel pour transmettre 2 messages. Le premier message, il s'agit d'attirer l'attention des peuples africains sur le phénomène des coups d'État et du terrorisme qui commence à prendre de l'ampleur en Afrique de l'Ouest. Ce n'est pas un fait du hasard. Ce n'est pas un phénomène du hasard. C'est effectivement justifié leur plan de domination et de reconquête des peuples africains. L'Afrique de l'Ouest, en soi, a été, à un niveau donné, moteur de la libération totale de l'Afrique. Et aujourd'hui, pour compromettre ces indépendances, pour compromettre même l'édification des États-Unis d'Afrique, ils veulent encore recoloniser l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Pourquoi je le dis? En mars 2018, avec le parti Solidarité africaine pour l'indépendance du côté de Bamako, nous avons fondé l'URDA, l'Union pour la Révolution démocratique africaine. Après cette création, le camarade secrétaire général Mohamed Touré a fait une visite au Cuba. Après au Cuba, il est allé soutenir la lutte du peuple du Venezuela. Après le Venezuela, suite à son exil de 1984, il s'est rendu aux États-Unis. Et de là, il a été arrêté pour une cause qui n'est jusque-là pas justifiée par l'impérialisme américain. Et jusqu'à l'instant où je vous parle, il se trouve incarcéré par les Américains. Aujourd'hui, il est extrêmement important de signaler que les travaux thématiques, certainement au niveau des commissions qui vont démarrer, est d'une importante capitale. Aujourd'hui, de quoi avons-nous besoin? C'est la deuxième raison de notre présence. Nous avons besoin de solidarité. Nous avons besoin de soutien. Nous avons besoin de solidarité agissante. Le Sajofo, Dr Kwame Nkrumah, puisse son âme reposer en paix, il a su le prouver. Quand la Guinée a accédé à son indépendance en 1958, la France avait vidé les caisses de l'État. Même les assiettes à la présidence avaient été cassées. Le Sajofo a été de ceux qui ont soutenu la Guinée en faisant un prêt de 2 millions de livres sterling pour accompagner l'indépendance guinéenne. Quelque temps après, il s'agissait autour de la Guinée. Puisque notre hymne national en témoigne, il s'agit de la Guinée pour les peuples africains. Et le président M. Sékou Touré l'a dit, qu'il ne considérait pas la Guinée indépendante tant qu'un seul kilomètre carré de l'Afrique restait sous une domination étrangère. Et c'est pourquoi il a été au chevet des camarades du PAIGC, ils sont là, ils peuvent en témoigner. C'est pourquoi il a été au chevet des camarades du Cap-Vert, ils peuvent en témoigner. Et c'est pourquoi, plus loin, il a été auprès du Front de Libération Nationale de l'Algérie, ils peuvent en témoigner. En termes de solidarité agissante, on peut également citer le soutien matériel, logistique et financier au MPLA, le Mozambique. Plus loin, la Guinée a piloté le comité au niveau des Nations Unies pour la lutte contre l'apartheid en Afrique du Sud. Le SWAPO, c'est pour vous dire clairement qu'aujourd'hui, ceux qui ont la possibilité d'appuyer les partis progressistes à l'échelle continentale doivent le faire pour essayer de contrer le vent de néocolonisation qui est en train de prendre en otage nos peuples. Quelqu'un tout à l'heure a signifié dans sa communication aujourd'hui tous les conflits qui se passent dans le monde. Mais je vais rappeler les 2 plus grands conflits. La Première Guerre mondiale, la Deuxième Guerre mondiale, c'était les impérialistes. Ce n'était pas les partis socialistes. Et donc aujourd'hui, toutes les difficultés que l'humanité connaît, tous les problèmes que nous traversons, c'est eux qui sont à la base. Le système impérialiste n'est pas la solution. Et chaque fois qu'il a été question d'une alternative crédible pour l'humanité, ce sont les socialistes qui ont été là. Et donc pour nous, le socialisme est effectivement la solution à l'humanité. Sur ce, nous vous disons prêts pour la révolution et nous restons à votre côté pour ensemble porter vraiment fruit à ce travail. Merci camarades.
Comrades, we just have 2 more solidarity messages, and then we shall make other announcements. These 2 more messages are coming first from PAICV of Cape Verde, and then secondly from the Communist Party of La Côte d'Ivoire, Comrade Ekiti. So we're going to start with a message from PAICV from Cape Verde, and Comrade Ekiti from the Communist Party of La Côte d'Ivoire will give the last solidarity message. PAICV, Cape Verde.
Bonjour, moi je vais parler un peu de PAICV et après les situations des femmes, égalité au sexe au Cap-Vert. PAICV. Le PAICV a une longue histoire construite sur les faits des gestes d'hommes et de femmes qui ont marqué des moments et des sites historiques qui constituent les grandes références symboliques d'une nation. Nous faisons référence à la création du PAIGC en 1959, à la lutte de libération nationale au jalon indélébile menée par Amilcar Cabral, à la lutte politique clandestine qui s'est développée au Cap-Vert dans la diaspora. Le PAICV, c'est le parti de la lutte de la libération nationale, c'est le parti de l'indépendance nationale, c'est le parti qui a construit et consolidé les institutions piliers de la République, c'est le parti de l'ouverture politique et de l'État droit démocratique, c'est le parti de l'infrastructure économique et sociale. Le PAICV, en effet, un parti de gauche démocratique moderne et engagé dans la grande cause sociale avec une économie de marché dans laquelle le secteur privé joue un rôle important dans le développement économique du pays, dans la création d'emplois, dans la lutte contre la pauvreté, dans les compétitifs du pays. Situation des femmes et égalité de sexe au Cap-Vert. Le Cap-Vert a ratifié un ensemble d'instruments internationaux a doté des déclarations et des plateformes, participe aux débats internationaux, notamment c'est promu par les Nations Unies, et c'est doté d'un cadre juridique et d'un cadre institutionnel favorable à la promotion d'égalité des sexes. Il siège 2014. Peu après l'indépendance, 1975 à 1980, le pays signe le CEDEAO devant l'un des premiers pays à ratifier cet instrument international sur les droits des femmes et siège 2017. Ainsi, d'autres instruments tels que ceux de OIT, OMD, ODD, concernant le cadre légal, depuis l'indépendance, la législation produit et fait référence à un principe d'égalité entre les hommes et les femmes. Ce sont les messages que je dois ici. Merci. Viva PICV!
Mbawata from Tanzania, before the final solidarity message. Mbawata from Tanzania.
Greetings, comrades. My name is Theodora from Mviwata, which is a Swahili name of meaning the network of smallholder farmers groups in Tanzania. So I'm here to deliver a solidarity message from the peasants of Tanzania. Dear delegates, to the West African People for a New World Conference, represented observers, media, honorable ambassadors and embassies which are presented here. From Mviwata, the largest national peasant network in Tanzania and the member of La Via Campesina in Tanzania, I am here to deliver the solidarity greetings from the people of Tanzania. And first, I would like to thank the SMG and PAT for this invitation. And from the peasant of Tanzania, through this invitation, we have only 3 important messages that we want to deliver here. Number 1 is to tell you that what you have started is a very beautiful, inspiring, and a revolutionary journey adding up to the history of working people of Africa. And for this, please, comrades, kindly receive our heartfelt congratulations. Secondly, is to let you know that we are learning from you and from this process of organizing the people. It's a shame that the ones formed the currently existing, what we call economic, regional and continental blocks have been reduced to become only the Western puppets of imperialist agenda on extractivism, while using Africans as guinea pigs for their science fantasies. As we have heard in Burkina Faso, they are doing some trials on GMOs, mosquitoes. In Tanzania, trials on GMO, whatever. So it's almost everywhere in Africa where the people are being used only for science fantasies of the multinationals and the exploitation of our culture, labor, and economies. And thus, it is very necessary that platforms such as this one exist so as to offer an alternative for the working people to meet, for the working people to plan, for the working people to strategize. Thirdly is to demonstrate to you the power of living solidarity and internationalism. I look around all the participants and delegates to this important event, and what I saw from morning up to now is our similarities and our commitment of all of us presented here to be there for each other. And lastly, I want to say that, dear comrades, as our struggles are historic, present, as we have heard from different people who have come front to this podium, telling us what is happening in their different localities. And this gives us the notion of understanding that there is something that we have to do, and everything that we have to do is here to determine our future, and we have to do it with all of our commitment. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Final message from the Communist Party of la Côte d'Ivoire.
Merci. Je ne vais pas être long. Je voudrais remercier toutes les représentations diplomatiques ici présentes. Et nous pensons que le Parti communiste révolutionnaire de Côte d'Ivoire, le peuple de Côte d'Ivoire, adresse ses salutations et son soutien à toutes ces représentations diplomatiques, au peuple de ces pays, pour le soutien que ces pays et ces peuples apportent à la révolution dans le monde, particulièrement au combat des peuples africains. Nous sommes membres du comité d'organisation de cette manifestation. En principe, nous n'avons pas à intervenir. Comme on nous a demandé, on va le faire très rapidement et en 2 points. La Côte d'Ivoire, mon pays, est dominée par l'impérialisme international, en particulier l'impérialisme français, depuis 1950. Houphouët-Boigny a aidé l'impérialisme français à désorganiser la sortie des peuples d'Afrique et des nations d'Afrique de la colonisation. Aujourd'hui, cette même Côte d'Ivoire est la base arrière de l'armée française pour déstabiliser les pays africains, en particulier les pays de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Alors, c'est avec joie que nous avons accueilli ce projet lorsque le MSG nous a appelés avec le Parti communiste révolutionnaire de Côte d'Ivoire, du Bénin, le Parti communiste du Bénin, pour dire qu'est-ce que nous faisons en Afrique de l'Ouest. Et très rapidement, nous avons dit oui, nous sommes pour une organisation anti-impérialiste, anti-capitaliste, anti-impérialiste pour la libération de l'Afrique, en commençant bien sûr par une organisation, parce qu'il faut aller pas à pas, une organisation de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Nous allons aller à cette organisation. Je voudrais m'adresser aux invités, pas aux invités, aux membres fondateurs de cette organisation qui va naître, aux partis politiques, aux syndicats des salariés, aux syndicats des paysans, à la jeunesse, aux femmes. C'est un pas, un grand pas que nous allons faire, mais le plus dur reste à faire. Où il faut donner une base populaire et activiste à notre organisation. Sinon, on va être dans la poubelle des autres organisations qui sont mortes. Alors, notre espoir, c'est que nous sommes là, les contacts doivent être pris pour envisager les réseaux de collaboration. Et je suis content que les camarades du Bénin aient déjà lancé cette idée avec les camarades de Côte d'Ivoire au niveau syndical pour ce travail. Mais il faut qu'à tous les niveaux ça se fasse. Au niveau des femmes, au niveau des jeunes. Il nous faut une base populaire et activiste de notre organisation. Voilà le message que je voudrais lancer aux membres fondateurs de notre organisation. Vive la révolution africaine, vive la libération africaine. Je vous remercie.
Comrades and friends, Comrade Ekiti, who just delivered the last solidarity message, also happens to have been the vice president of the preparatory committee. He worked so hard, he visited our headquarters in Accra so many times, and sometimes had to endure too much for this conference to take place. The last time he came to Accra We wanted to put him up in a hotel. And said, no, but that will cost too much money. I will sleep in the head office. And indeed, he slept in the head office with the cadres that he came with from La Côte d'Ivoire. He has been a huge pillar of work and support. And we are here today because of the work that he and others have put in to bring us this far. We want to salute you, comrade. We are bringing the opening session to an end, and on behalf of the organizing committee or the preparatory committee, on behalf of our president, Comrade Philippe, of the Communist Party of Benin, on behalf of the convener of the host organization, the Socialist Movement of Ghana, and on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank profusely all of you, ambassadors and representatives of diplomatic missions which joined us this morning. We can assure you that West Africa would never be the same again. Today, we have taken a very important step of changing West Africa, and that change will come. Today, we have said to each other that what concerns one concerns all of us. Today, we are tearing down the boundaries which were established at a meeting which was arranged by Otto von Bismarck in 1884 in Bonn. Those boundaries are being torn apart today. We are tearing those boundaries down. And we are going to shake West Africa in ways in which West Africa has never been shaken before. We are beginning to build that new West Africa. That new West Africa which will take an active part in the struggles of the peoples of the world to end oppression and exploitation. That task begins today. Comrades, we'd like to thank all of you who have endured so much just to be here with us. You have traveled from far, far places. You have suffered all kinds of inconveniences to be with us today, and we deeply appreciate that. We thank you all. Thank you all most sincerely for being here with us. We will succeed, and our success should adequately compensate for all the things that we have suffered. Thank you very much for being here with us. From here, a number of things would happen. We'd like to take our esteemed guest upstairs, the building opposite this one, upstairs. We'd like to take our esteemed guest there to continue some conversations around bottles of water. So please allow us to take our esteemed guest upstairs to have a little refreshment with our esteemed guest. For the rest of us, sumptuous lunch is ready. And sumptuous lunch is ready just beneath where we are. There's lunch for everybody. And you do know that the lunch here is excellent. So downstairs there'll be lunch for everybody when we leave here. But please don't spend too much time eating, because if you spend too much time eating, we'll be in trouble. We expect the commissions to finish their work tonight. And we expect the rapporteurs of the various commissions to finish their reports for presentation to the plenary session tomorrow morning. That's a lot of work. Some of you cannot sleep today. Sleep is impossible for some of you. And we are going to work you like machines to make sure that we don't waste 3 days here. So tomorrow morning, the rapporteurs will present their reports. Whether they sleep or not is not the issue. The point is that by tomorrow morning, the reports should be available for consideration by the plenary session. There will be 3 commissions soon after lunch, and that is why you don't have to spend too much time on your food. The first commission will be the Commission on the Statutes, which will be here in this very hall. This very hall, the committee or the Commission on Statutes will be meeting. The task of this commission is to make sure that by the time we leave here, the rules and regulations which will guide us in our work will be ready and will be approved. And there will be no doubt about qualification for membership and anything. We will sort all those things out by Saturday afternoon. And it's the task of the Commission on Statutes to finish that work. Then there is the Commission on Platform. This is the commission which will put together the guiding principles. What is it that we want to do? Who are we? Who can we work with? Who can we not work with? And so on. The Committee on Platform would meet opposite this very hall, in the hall directly opposite this one after lunch. And then we shall have the Commission on the Conjectural Analysis of West Africa, the commission which will look at West Africa. Where is West Africa today? What is accounting for the misery of our people, the poverty of our people? How do we fight the rotten pro-imperialist establishment and all of that? That commission, it's in the room after here. It's in the room after here. So these are the 3 commissions. The rapporteurs of the various commissions know themselves. They would not be reminded. We expect their reports tonight. I'm not sleeping tonight, and nobody's sleeping tonight until we finish the work. So if it takes us up to midnight to finish the reports, it will take us up to midnight to finish the reports. If it takes us up to 3 a.m., we will finish the reports, and this conference will be successful. Yes, the Secretariat was asked to push people into commissions. So I'm sure that all of you, as you registered, you were assigned one commission or the other. If there are any difficulties about which commission you'll be working in, choose one and just walk in there and start working. The most important thing is the work. So let's work. Let's make this conference a success. Let's change West Africa. Let's change the world. Joe makes things very easy. Joe tells me that the list of persons in each commission is on the door. So if you get to the door of each commission, you would know what commission you are in. And then she says that all the interpretation devices should be left here and will be redistributed at the commissions. So comrades and friends, thank you very much. This session has come to an end. Thank you very much.